Well, a bit of a slowness in the market, 0.25% off, slowness in people eating pizzas as well. So it seems from the Jubilant FoodWorks number. Ajay Kaul, CEO of Jubilant FoodWorks, is with us. Ajay, you're not wearing your pizza delivery boy attire that you wore when you came to our studio last time. Well, not too many pizzas to deliver. Your same-store sales has dipped. How worried would you be about the slowdown? Does it extend to this quarter as well?
Okay, good morning firstly, Lata. The pizza logo is right here, so
okay.
That's something which we always wear very proudly on our sleeve. Times are a bit tough, you're right, but deliveries are still happening. Customers are, probably not at the same frequency as they were consuming before, but they are still ordering pizzas. We are internally breaking still a lot of records. But yes, there is a bit of slowness in the market. There is no doubt in that.
And you didn't see January giving you too much of a different texture in terms of demand?
Without trying to, kind of give any data points for future, which January included in the next quarter, I think the trend seems to be continuing. We do believe that at least for the next 2 to 3 quarters, actually till the point the elections are over, whichever is the new government comes into play, and they take time to kind of stabilize, is when probably things will start turning around. But having said that, Lata, the key thing is, and that's something which I want to focus upon, as I have always done in the past as well, is our medium to long-term plan. And I think that's, thankfully, touch wood, is still absolutely rock solid intact. If you would have seen our guidance for, for new store openings, we started the year at 125. And right now we believe we will open more than 140, at least 145 new stores for Domino's alone and around 20 for Dunkin'. And what gives us this confidence is the rate, not only at the rate at which we are opening stores, but the fact that our profitability norms, our payback periods, all those norms are intact, which means the consumption story of India in the medium and the long term is still very much in place. And that's a message I want to leave not only to our viewers, but I think to consumer companies and to consumers in general, that story, you can't take it away from India, the middle class, the middle of the pyramid story. And that's where we are building all our, call it new restaurants, call it even infrastructure. I mean, just to give you, some idea, as we speak, we are investing in, 4 new brand commissaries, which is factories, and investment over a year and a half would run into probably 150 crores for all these put together. There is a new factory in Hyderabad, there's one coming up in Nagpur, one coming up in Guwahati, and a mammoth one, state of art, could serve up to 300, 350 stores coming up in Noida. Now, all this is going into our medium-term, long-term, 3 to 5 to 7 years plan. So that story is still intact, and we are trying to put 80-90% of our time, energy, money, efforts into that. But yes, these short-term blips, Lata, you're right, are kind of taking a focus back into, the immediate, as to what is happening today.
Ajay, hi, good morning. Let me ask you a strategic question.
Good morning.
When you say this is a short-term blip, do you really believe that? Because the market or the country as a whole is moving towards healthier food options, and that's the fact, So, for the first time in so many quarters, we've seen a same-store sales degrowth from Jubilant FoodWorks. Are you confident that this trend could be reversed anytime soon? Or do you think Jubilant may have to change its strategy a little bit to work with the changing times, that is, a move towards a healthier food option?
2, 3 questions rolled into one, but let me take them one by one. While health, piece has got its place, but honestly, it is so minuscule and small, and we have enough evidence, coming from other countries where health probably has taken that much more a stronger, force, or place in the minds of people. In India, if you look at per capita consumption of, let's say, pizza and pasta as a category, if you look at the frequency with which, our consumers, one data point I would like to throw at you here is that almost 50% of our consumers in a year, which means a calendar year, are one-time consumers. Now, this will tell you that how under-penetrated pizza and pasta as a category is. So I think we are decades away from the point where consumers in large numbers, where sales start significantly affecting consumption patterns and start moving away from these kind of categories. And there is enough evidence. We can go to China, which is probably 5-7 years ahead of us. No such turn. Even in markets like US, which you may argue is highly saturated, penetrated and all that, the consumer, when he is indulging, says, I want to indulge. On that one day in a year when I'm eating a pizza, or twice in a year, you can't come and tell me that now there is some health angle to it and so on.
Okay,
now,
fair
having
enough.
said that, we
Sure.
certainly believe that it is a short-term thing and it's going to come back. It may not climb back to the 30-35% same-store growth numbers that we have done in the past, but doing a double-digit in healthy times is most certainly possible.
Okay. So now coming to, the efforts that you would have to make in order to get back on track. So that would mean higher marketing expenses, perhaps higher promotional expenses, and that could also mean higher damage to your margins. Just give us an indication of whether the margins could slip below the 25% mark in the quarters to come because of both higher input costs and perhaps higher marketing expenses that you may have to incur.
Right. See, without trying to again give any guidance numbers for future as to where margins, what direction will they move in and so on, whatever you have said is right. There is pressure coming on the bottom line by virtue of inflationary trends, and honestly, when I look forward, I can clearly see, especially coming from milk price, which is the key ingredient, cheese being a derivative of milk, and that's playing a bit of a havoc. Other than that, we believe, other ingredients probably are not going to be as crazy as they were in the previous year. But overall, still, a pain point which we need to handle. Our marketing promotional expenses will, come under close scrutiny ourselves because, yes, in downturnish times like these, you tend to pump in a bit more new product launches and so on. But having said that, even, the way when we stopped our one-on-one Wednesday promotion somewhere in November, the idea was that to create an occasion in the middle of the week, one more reason for people to consume, let's say, pizza in the middle of the week, and then we kind of tactically removed it. So we will have to play these tactical cards. One of the key cards which we plan to play is, through the online medium, because as you know, nearly 18 to 20% of our business comes through online ordering today. We want to go that route a bit more, stronger there. That medium also doesn't come as expensive as probably the conventional mediums are. So we'll have to be very, very innovative. We are, as I personally call it, micro-innovating, even at the store, at the region, at the country level, even small initiatives which lead to cost efficiency, productivity gains, and thereby margin enhancements are something which we are constantly working on.
Ajay, just a monosyllabic answer. Will you be able to maintain a 20% growth rate for FY14 and FY15?
Come once again, will you be able to...
Should we look at a 20% growth rate for FY14 and FY15?
See, without trying to give guidance, I can tell you one thing. If we are planning to open 145 Domino's stores and at least 20 Dunkin' Donut stores this year, I think those numbers we should be at least able to repeat. In fact, Dunkin' Donuts should be more because they're in a growth phase in years to come. So, at a systemic level, we are going to add a lot of stores. We believe that story is intact. If the same store sales climbs back to some reasonably good numbers, I think what you just said is doable.
All right, Ajay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much indeed for joining us with your thoughts. Okay, let's shift focus back to the Auto Expo. Mayank Parekh of Maruti has been...